Maundy Thursday, which gets its name from the Latin mandatum, or commandment, the new commandment that Jesus gave to love others as he has loved us. The commandment that he gave as they were remembering the command from God so many generations before. The command to eat a lamb and to spread its blood on the doorposts so that they might be brought out of slavery into freedom, so that they might be passed over as the angel of death came through, in order that they might go and have life. The command to be God's people, a new command turned on its head in Jesus, the one who on this night started the greatest world reversal that we have seen. The master, a slave to the servant, the one who has power kneeling at the feet of those with less power. God willing to empty God's self and face the death of a criminal. It seems extreme, really, that God would go to those lengths. That God would have to empty all of the cosmos from divinity and become enfleshed in a human being, just so that we might know the depths of love. Extreme. A word we've been hearing a lot of lately, and not necessarily in a good way. Particularly this week as we hear news of the extremists and the bombings that took place in Brussels. As the political season continues and we hear news of political extremists, calls for violence and hatred. Extreme sports are in the news all the time. Extreme dieting, extreme workouts, extreme everything, it seems. And on this night, we are called to view the extreme God who comes in extreme love. Shane Claiborne says it's not a question of whether we will be extremists or not, but what kind of extremists will we be? Because we serve a God who is a God of extreme love. One who was willing to humble himself and ride into Jerusalem on a donkey, to kneel at the feet of the ones who would betray and deny and stab him in the back, to face angry crowds calling for his crucifixion. This is the God that we serve. A God who faces the darkness of the world, the extremism in our world, and calls us to serve others. And that's really the problem with extremism, isn't it? It's always in service to something, some idea, some ideal. But God is not an idea or an ideal. God is love. God is life and light, and that is how we are called to be extreme in our love and our service of others. Rather than idolizing ideas and calling for hatred and violence, Christ idolized God in the healthiest of ways and showed us a different way. A way of humility and service and compassion, turning the other cheek, in a way that calls us to look at the cross not with loathing or anxiety or fear, but simply to look at it with love. For every person is in need of love. Every person is in need of service, and every person doesn't mean everybody else. It means you. You are in need of God's love. You are in need of God's service, and so God kneels in humility at your feet, washing you, making you part of God's body, inviting you into the extreme nature that is love. Because God knows that you are good enough. That your feet are the ones who bring good news, that your choices are the ones that change the world, that your love is the love that continues to shine in a world of extreme darkness. Yours are the feet that Jesus kneels to wash. Yours is the life which Christ died to give. Yours is the love of God. This Maundy Thursday, hearing the command to love one another as God has loved us in Christ, we look to the cross, marveling at the extreme nature of a God who would give up everything for us, who would die for us, so that we might die for each other. Imagine the extreme love which would come about in our world if we actually took time to do that. To die for each other in love. The little kinds of love and death that come with a moment of volunteering, a kind word to a neighbor, the small deaths that come when you put someone else above yourself. This is the extreme love of which we are a part. This is the extreme love with which God served us, and it is the extreme love we are called to give to others. And so we go, having been washed and joined to God, we go to the garden, to the cross, to the tomb, and eventually, yes, to new life. That is the gift of this command. It is the gift of life in God. Let us go now. Amen.